Yesterday, Trump and RFK came out with those statements on autism. I thought it was really interesting because we were doing a lot of work with autism. Let me tell you what I found and how it folds into all that. I'm coming out with a big book, a textbook on homocysteine this next year. And as you know, I've been putting a lot of work in on it. There's going to be a chapter in there. I haven't written it yet, but I'm putting it together, all the pieces. It's really articles. It's really like 40 different articles in there, and all on homocysteine and all in a row. So it makes sense. Like there's 17 SNPs that no one knows this. I'm the only one. Our research has found all this out with the genetic work and everything else. That there's 17 SNPs that if any one of them is homozygous, you're going to have a high homocysteine level. The people that have 5 or 6 or 7 that are homozygous, not that they have an increased homocysteine level, they are locked down. And you're pretty much locked down even with one. People think you can change your homocysteine level with TMG and all this, not when it's genetically promulgated, not when it comes from your genetics. And that's a big mistake people make. Also, they'll have a low homocysteine and think they're out of the woods when their genetics say they should have a high homocysteine level. That's because they're malnourished. And if you're malnourished, I think there are 12 vitamins we found that if you're malnourished in that intracellular panel we do, that you will have a low suppressed homocysteine level. They tried that approach for 40 years to starve people to death, to keep them off amino acids, especially methionine. And a wonderful physician in Colorado, a naturopath actually, looked at all the data, all the study information, all the collected data, and she concluded correctly that people were dying more quickly from being starved or malnourished than they were from the homocysteine problem. Let me tell you, take that out, sorry. People with who are autistic, kids who are autistic, what we found is almost, I don't think I've yet to find one that isn't. They have one of those genetic SNPs or several of them. So they can't, their transsulfuration pathway doesn't work, so their homocysteine level is high. So when you hear your homocysteine level is high, that means your transsulfuration pathway is not working. And I got to tell you, anything above 7.3 is high. They're telling you, no, it's not. It's 44 or 16 or some crazy number. Not what I'm seeing. They have a 7.3 or above. They're going to start to have a high IL-8. So
that's what it means. If you have a high homocysteine, you have higher levels of cytokines, which then cause inflammation and inability to detox.
Right. What? No, they don't cause the inability to detox. They're a reflection of the inability to detox. So homocysteine it does some really weird things. So homocysteine does not affect you directly. I've said this before, and you guys have heard me say it, that homocysteine doesn't affect you directly. It causes your monocytes to release 2 cytokines, interleukin-8, IL-8, the number 8, and monocyte chemoprotectant 1, MCP1. Those are what kill you. That is, IL-8's the number 1 cause of kidney failure. And there's all these biologicals coming out right now that to treat those. We'll get to that in just a second because they're incredibly expensive and they have plethora of side effects too. So anyway, I think they're going around their ass to get to their elbow, but we'll talk about that too. So kids with autism have a homocysteine problem, and meaning their transsulfuration pathway doesn't work. So back to that transsulfuration pathway, that's how you detox. The transsulfuration pathway is really how you convert homocysteine to glutathione. That's the cycle of life. You got to be able to do that conversion if you're going to live a long time. But 38% of the population can't do that. So, and then their doctors won't even check it because they don't think there's anything you can do for it. That book, I proved beyond a shadow of a doubt there's easy things you can do for it, mainly glutathione. But it's got to be one that works. So, and I happen to have the only patented oral glutathione in the world. So and we have lots of validation on that. And there's a reason it has a patent, because it works. And so
why does increasing glutathione using a supplement help the homocysteine problem?
it'd be better if they could do it genetically, but they can't. 'Cause there are some humans that have that weird, have a super high glutathione level all the time. That's how they found out that glutathione level lowered those cytokines, just inadvertently. Accidentally, they figured that out. But most 38% of people, let's say 38.8, have a high homocysteine level, or should genetically, but maybe even more now that we found out all those SNPs, because used to be people thought there were 2 or 3 SNPs that caused a high homocysteine level. Anyway, there's 17. Because, what was your question?
Just how does glutathione help this problem? By taking a glutathione supplement, how does it fix
It
this?
prevents the monocytes from releasing cytokines. That's not MAR evidence. It's tons of studies have shown that. Just they didn't know when they were doing the studies that we had the world's only patented oral glutathione, that we had one that works. So when we've got hundreds of lab results on low how we lowered IL-8. I mean, there are people listening to this who know that we lowered their IL-8 using, and if we lowered their IL-8, we lowered their MCP-1. MCP-1 is just hard to test. So it's really expensive. IL-8's expensive enough. And I tell these patients, follow your IL-8. Some people have homozygous IL-8, IL-6, IL-14, IL-13. I mean, on and on. And so those are always on. If you're homozygous on any of those, on your genetics, you can go back and look at any interleukins or any cytokine genetics that are homozygous. You'll see that you might have a few. If you have a lot of inflammation and pain, you probably have 1 or 2 of those that are always on. And so it just takes more glutathione to lower that down than usual. Usually 4 or 5 a day, what we found will lower those IL-8 and MCP-1 to normal.
Yeah.
But if you got a homozygosity as a cytokine SNP, that's just a whole other deal. Autistic kids can't detox. That's why they have trouble with all these aluminums and mercury and all that crap in the vaccines. Thank you, RFK. And we're going to talk. I'm supposed to meet with you, by the way, but we'll figure that out. So I'm in your future, or you're in my future. I don't know which. But hey, I am the most popular MD by Google review and all reviews, social media reviews in the U.S. So I think it might behoove him to talk to me. But yeah, and thank you, Senator Tom Cotton's office, for reaching out to us. It's interesting that what homocysteine does, but you can because it's hurtful. Number 1 cause of kidney failure, inflames arteries. It causes all kinds of cancers. It causes birth defects. It causes miscarriages out the wazoo. And it's just a really problematic cardiovascular waste product. And you can't lower it, but you can lower the cytokines they're the thugs for the homocysteine. They're out there beating people up, and beating your kidneys up, and beating your heart up, and everything else, your cardiovascular system. But you can get rid of those, and glutathione's kind of the police. They'll go out and remove the thugs and lower it. They don't really remove it, but they lower it.
So if I'm hearing this right, these people that already have genetic heirs and have a high propensity for homocysteine in these children, and then you give them, flood their system with a ton of heavy metals and other toxins at a very young age, they have a huge inflammatory response to it. But this can be preventable, or it can be helped in any way.
You get their genetics younger, but you got to get specific genetics. The genetic system, genetics was the future of medicine until now it's not. Now it wasn't. Because the drug companies came in, I believe, well, I don't know, it sounds paranoid, but now the only test I think insurance pays for it is to see your genetics, what drugs you can handle appropriately. It's like, what is that? Where did that happen? So yeah, that's just crazy. So, but yeah, I'm looking at it like what inflammatory problem, what gut problem is it causing, what neurotransmitter problem is it causing, to see why they're depressed or bipolar or whatever. And you can actually check some of those levels. This NutriHacker, not NutriHacker, but the cell science systems CMA with redox that we use is really good for finding a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's really genetic. Your intracellular vitamin results that I see, they're all genetic related. So kids with autism, what do? You take, so Nayan Patel and Chintron developed that glutaril. I helped a little. Nayan told me I'm on the patent, but I don't know that I am. But I tell people sometimes I am, but I don't know for sure if I am. But I helped it because they did all the clinical trial work for them, or most of it, so they could get their patent through. And at the same time, we were developing that oral glutathione. Gary Brecka interviewed, thank you, Gary Brecka, for interviewing Nayan about that glutathione that we worked on for, I think it was 4 years. It was a long time we worked on it.
Mm-hmm.
That was when we were doing research in Southern California, cardiology and pituitary endocrinology work. Nayan and Chin were on our team. Anyway, just throwing that out there. Yeah, it's crazy. The glutathione changes the world for these kids.
Yeah.
And we've seen that a lot because parents are like, little Bobby starts taking the glutathione, and we use glutaril. We're going to come out with our spray again too. In our liquid version here, it's a lot easier to rub on kids or to take it. And much better flavoring. But yeah, the kids get better because they detox. We have a personal family experience. I'm not going to say who it is, but you know that. You've seen that yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
How suddenly, so that inflammation, these little kids, you touch them and they hurt. These autistic kids and their brain can't think right and everything else. You get them on enough glutathione and all that just looks like it kind of goes away. So not in all of them. I won't say it works 100%. I'm missing something somewhere in probably about 5 or 8% of them, maybe. I haven't figured out the number, but it sure looks like glutathione's a big answer for them. And there's only one oral one on the planet. There's Nayan Patel and Chintron's glutaril. That's Oral Pharma. They're my buddies. And I love Nayan and Chin's. They're geniuses. So look them up. And we sell that same product. They let us sell that in the office because I was involved with the development of it. So you can grab that from us to spray on for little baby kids, little children. But yeah, if you give it to them before and after, they have to get a vaccine. It can really help. If we're going to keep all those vaccines, that's not up for me. This is what I believe about pharma. Pharma keeps you alive until someone like me, who deals with the root causes, can kind of suss out the real problem to fix it. Not to fix it, but to deal with it appropriately.
Yeah.
So
I know even like my own mom, when she had all of us kids 30 years ago, she felt that it wasn't right, the vaccines we were getting even at that time, to give them all at the same time. And so she told her doctors, no, we're spreading this out. And I think that gave us a fighting chance, if anything, because we have all those genetics. We have the MTHFR, we have the homocysteine things.
Yeah.
And so I think it did really help. And so
I agree with that Tylenol thing taken in utero, but sorry, acetaminophen, not Tylenol, but the same thing.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
Because
I've seen it so many times.
It's the leading cause of suicide, right? Or not the leading cause of suicide, but it's but the acetaminophen overdose is a huge problem.
It's the number one attempted drug people use in suicide.
Yeah.
So when we come out with our FDA approved, which we're going to do that. FDA approved IV glutathione, the first one that actually works correctly because of the process we're putting it through. That'll be used for that.
Yeah.
And other drug overdoses and stuff.
Yeah. But just think about that, though. How quickly acetaminophen metabolizes in your liver, depletes your glutathione levels almost immediately.
Man, quickly, especially with alcohol.
Yeah. And so think, what is that doing to a tiny embryo or little fetus?
Yeah.
That they're unable to process any of that. And hopefully the mother can, but you need to help it. And glutathione is the only thing that stops it because that's what your liver uses to detox.
Yeah. Glutathione, I didn't realize when we were developing that, I knew it was a pretty big impact, but I didn't realize how big it was. The other problem you got is they've tried artificial glutathions, like L-glutathione and others that didn't work at all. They gave up on it. Drug companies, pharmaceuticals, by nature and the way they function, they like to own the molecule. And you can't own a naturally created molecule. We like to own the process. The way that the super antioxidant was handled has to be correct. So, and that's our patent. We've been awarded it in multiple countries. And we have the only functional oral glutathione in the world. Though I will tell you, Nions, if you have oral surgery, that stuff is really good to spray in your mouth. It tastes salty. It does not taste horribly. It doesn't taste like glutathione. It's just salty. It's kind of weird. But man, does that make you heal fast in your mouth?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. And wait until you see what we're doing with burns and glutathione. That's the future of burn therapy. So, hey, if anyone out there wants more information on that, or wants to, I don't know, we don't need investors, but I don't know, be involved with that somehow, let us know. Burns are cool. Glutathione, what it does to burns is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
So like nothing, you just can't imagine. You know, because you've seen all the photos and videos and
as part of those studies I saw.
Full thickness burns where the skin just slips off and what it does.
I'm glad we're talking just about the many, many uses of glutathione. That's why it's the master antioxidant.
It is nuts what it does.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the other one, patents on it, patents pending on superoxide dismutase, because we're the only ones who really see the beauty of that. It's weird that no one else ever did that.
Yeah.
That's just so strange. Yeah. Anyway, so if you have a child that you're worried about might have toxicity issues, don't use binders. Don't use all that stuff. Get glutathione and use it. And you might want to use ours or Nions, the Glutaryl. And I don't mean to advertise for him, but he's my buddy. We're really good friends. It's just a great product. So is ours. And we're coming out there liquid probably for Black Friday.
You're right around there. Yep. Check back early November.
The taste is dramatically improved. I don't even know. I know you got rid of a lot of crap not crap, but stuff that tastes, I don't know. There are weird things in there that we got rid of that guy. So, okay. Yeah. No more of that. Anyway, that's my thoughts on autism, the vaccines, and glutathione. Glutathione's the missing piece. And I'd be more than happy to meet with RFK. Tom Cotton was arranging that, I think. I'm speaking truth here. So I'd love to go ahead and have that chat with him and talk to him about the intracellular vitamin panels we use, how critical those are, how that should be probably covered by every health insurance in the freaking world. And they won't. They're FDA and Health and Human Services approved, but they won't cover them. It's so weird.
Yeah.
So
one last thing I wanted to bring up, the drug that RFK mentioned for these children with autism. Leucovorin. It's folinic acid.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
And
we've been suggesting folinic acid and B12 for years.
We had it in our products in the past.
Yeah.
But since it became a drug,
on Leucovorin, they had to take it off the market.
all the manufacturers, supplement manufacturers, no one will make it for us.
Yeah.
And so that's been really hard, even in the non-drug dose.
RFK, could you please let folinic acid be used broadly? I don't know why some companies still have it too, that I know of.
I mean, I found sources like on Alibaba and other places that will sell you folinic acid, and hopefully it is. And so I don't know exactly where these other companies are getting their sources from, because it's not allowed. And every manufacturer I've talked to won't do it. They won't go for it because they can't find a true source of it that's not the pharmaceutical grade. And so it's a really weird situation.
We need help with that.
Yeah.
Hey, RFK, we need help with that. Trump, for the manufacturers out here, the people that do this work. Remember, my MTHFR product was one of the first ones, and we keep evolving that.
Yeah.
But we're going to come out with, I think if we really could, I'd like to come out with a folinic acid and probably never going to happen. Folinic acid and hydroxy B12 version of that with all the other add-ons we do that are appropriate. Yeah. Not just plain hydroxy B12 folinic acid. So I think it'd be people would like it.
Yeah.
So all those aminos and stuff we figured out that MTHFR requires. So yeah, my book, the MTHFR, the 85% solution, was #1 for 2 years on Amazon. You might want to get it to start learning more about it. There's a reason it was #1 for 2 years on Amazon. And that's how it started biotech and a lot of others. So there's a lot of money coming in from that. We're here. I'm here. So if you want a consult for your child or concerns, I don't do long-term things. I just show you what to do to fix the problems. Read my reviews and all my 1,200 plus 5-star reviews, and you'll get a better idea. Thank you for listening.